From the start, helping people recover from hardships with dignity has been part of Prem Rawat's vision. And that work has become more important than ever over the last year and a half, with the pandemic causing so much suffering. Thanks to your support, TPRF has been there for people during some of their darkest days by providing food, water, medical care, and other aid. I hope this next video gives you a sense of the incredible impact we've made together and shares perspective from Prem Rawat on why it's important. Then we will be joined by some of our great partners in Ecuador who we've been working with throughout the pandemic on the Seeds of Hope project to address food insecurity in a sustainable way.
In order to address fundamental human needs so that people everywhere can lead their lives with dignity, peace and prosperity, Prem Rawat has founded the Prem Rawat Foundation.
From the beginning, Prem Rawat set a goal for his foundation to help people in dire need, including victims of natural disasters and those lacking clean water, food and eye care.
I invite every single human being on the face of this earth to participate, to alleviate each other's misery.
It all began in 2003 with a modest grant of $1,000 for the purchase of 45 tons of rice in Ivory Coast to feed refugees and victims of the civil war in this West African nation.
From my perspective, I wanted to do this as a humanitarian effort. Look, we can talk about peace till we turn blue in the face, but it is hard to talk to a person about peace if their stomach is growling because of hunger.
In that same year, TPRF began providing free medical clinics in different states across India, bringing modern eye care to hundreds of thousands of marginalized people. For many, this means they can go to work again, sew clothing for their family or to earn a living, farm their fields, and ensure that their children can succeed in school. People travel between 5 and 60 kilometers to seek eye care at the clinics, many on foot, because they have no other way of receiving essential care. Each year, 6,000 to 7,000 people are treated by local doctors and optometrists who offer their time. Each one is treated with dignity, respect, and care. For some, this is a first.
People are suffering, and let's do something about it. To see, to focus, to recognize, and to make a difference in this world.
In 2004, a 9.2 magnitude earthquake in the Indian Ocean led to a series of massive tsunami waves that devastated communities along the surrounding coast in one of the deadliest natural disasters in recorded history.
In February, the Foundation gave $150,000 to support our tsunami relief efforts in Indonesia, where we are even now providing much-needed aid to nearly 800,000 people there. On behalf of the thousands of people helped by the World Food Program every single day, I thank Prem Rawat and the Foundation for their generosity toward the World Food Program.
Why do people want to help people? Because we recognize in ourselves the similarity that exists amongst us all. We can look at our differences or we can look at who we are.
1 year later, disaster struck the southern coast of the United States when Category 5 Hurricane Katrina rolled through New Orleans and the surrounding areas. TPRF responded by donating $125,000 to the Houston Food Bank to provide meals to victims.
Not too long ago, there was incredible disaster. thousands of people got killed. Tragedy. I got on the phone to the foundation and I said, hey, make sure you send some aid. They need it. Whatever we can do.
In 2006, the foundation began the first of its many water initiatives to address the need for clean, healthy water in rural areas for the construction of wells in Ghana, West Africa.
With this gift from the foundation, we'll be able to install 5 more wells and make it possible for thousands of villagers in Ghana to find and drink clean water.
We live on this planet Earth. It's unique. We have an incredible place in the neighborhood. And we have an opportunity to do something so unique on the face of this earth that it cannot even be imagined. This is what we have been given. And yet, it is so sad to see that people don't have clean water. When in this world, that's what rains down.
When working with partners, TPRF sets the contingency that help is to be provided without any hidden agendas and with respect for the worth and dignity of each recipient. Breakfasts for children on Mornington Island, Australia, an area with a high Indigenous population through Oxfam, Australia. Family aid kits for victims of devastating flooding in Santa Lucia, Ecuador, through Mountains of Hope.
Estamos muy agradecidos y le agradezco de corazón.
Food, shelter, education and medical care for children who were previously scavenging for food and recyclables in the toxic garbage dumps of Phnom Penh in partnership with the Cambodian Children's Fund. Food and water aid for earthquake victims in Haiti through Friends of World Food Programme and AmeriCares Foundation. Wells to provide clean water to families in collaboration with Water for South Sudan in Africa. Eye care for children in East Jerusalem, the West Bank and Gaza through St. John's of Jerusalem Eye Hospital. And funds for boring holes for water wells in Niger via the Aman Iman organisation.
TPRF has been extending its hand towards those people, but never at the expense of a person's dignity. People in this world, they live in a country and they think everybody should be living like that. That is not true. This incredible diversity that we have. So without touching those beautiful things that exist in people's culture, their beliefs and their religion, their way of connecting with God, to preserve the integrity, to preserve the dignity of the people, and yet provide them assistance through the rough times. This is what our objective through TPRF has been.
In August 2015, a devastating 8.6 earthquake struck Nepal, killing over 2,000 people. Its epicenter was about 60 miles from the Foundation's Food for People facility in Tasapi. The facility incurred only minor damage and was quickly transformed into a shelter for 300 villagers whose homes were damaged by the initial quake or the severe aftershocks that followed. In the months ahead, TPRF provided $240,000 of aid to help people recover with dignity, and the facility was used to distribute food, spices, purified water, stoves and flashlights to the local village and remote areas. Supplies such as tarps, fuel and mosquito nets were made available. Ahead of the monsoon rains, volunteers also distributed thousands of bundles of galvanized iron roofing sheets for shelters and school buildings to keep people safe.
जिनके चेहरे पर एक उदासी था वो मुस्कान लेके यहाँ से लोग वापस लौट रहे हैं
राम्रो दियो सहयोग दियो हामीले भोकमारी यहाँ खानु नि पाइयो अब इष्टमित्र दियो भनेर पो.
When the COVID-19 pandemic began to take hundreds of thousands of lives, overwhelm medical resources and break down economies, TPRF reached out to help as much as possible. The foundation has made grants totaling over $500,000 to provide medical care, equipment, food and shelter via partners around the world, such as Doctors Without Borders, Americares, Chesvi and World Central Kitchen. In 2020, the Prem Rawat Foundation began collaborating with Calle Paz y Respeto, a group of reformed gang members, to provide food and seeds for sustainable nourishment in Ibarra, Ecuador. Inspired years ago by Prem Rawat to become a positive force in their community, these young people were alarmed as COVID-19 began to wreak havoc with their town and the surrounding villages of indigenous people. So they devised a plan with TPRF, first to deliver packages of food to families who were unable to leave their homes to buy the essentials. This initiative was followed by one of developing urban gardens where people could learn to grow their own food.
All our efforts that we are trying to make, whether it is sustainability, whether it is to feed the hungry, whether it is to bring clean water, in our own little way, we want to create a little heaven right here on earth. And who will ever blame us for thinking so wildly? Because that is a wild vision, to want to create a little heaven for us and for our fellow beings, and to leave a legacy of that heaven for the generations yet to come.
Thank you so much to all of you who have been supporting TPRF's humanitarian efforts. I hope that video gave you a sense of the profound impact you are making on people across the globe. One of the recent initiatives mentioned in the video is the Seeds of Hope project in Ecuador. This grassroots project is helping people weather the dark days of the pandemic, and it's also empowering them with the tools they need for more sustainable food security long into the future. It's a shining example of what we can accomplish together, and I'm happy to welcome 3 of our key partners on the Seeds of Hope project to tell us more.
Thanks, Jake. I'm Paul Murtha, General Manager of the Seeds of Hope project of the Muyu Chacana Foundation in Ecuador. And I am grateful to the Prem Rawat Foundation for effectively supporting this ongoing initiative, providing essential food security to vulnerable peoples since the start of the pandemic. The strategic plan has gone through several phases, from first delivering emergency food baskets to the handicapped, elderly, and single mothers, surviving on minimal food during the strict lockdowns, to co-creating 180 productive family gardens in 22 communities, to now graduating 160 families trained in basic permaculture methods to grow and establish dynamic native seed banks. The impact is not just about food security for families, but the program is generating significant hope, unity, dignity, and even a sense of simple prosperity at this critical time. Peoples around the world are recognizing that a dynamic seed bank is essentially the only guarantee for long-term food security. By saving the viable seeds from their plants, families assure that they have ongoing direct access to nutritious, diverse food, and therefore lasting good health. The women and mothers are eagerly participating because this pandemic has demanded the question, where does my food come from? What do I depend on for getting food on my table? In fact, to those listening to this conference, please accept a request. Next time a plate of food is in front of you, check out how many items come from seed. How often do we appreciate this? What will take place when sources of food seed run out? We are working in collaboration with Ecuador's preeminent seed bank, Red Guardianes de Semillas. They are helping us present the permaculture courses and are an excellent resource of native seed for our beneficiaries. Thanks to TPRF's continued support, we are delighted with the significant progress in just 18 months, as 160 families are developing their comprehensive permaculture sites and seed banks. This important achievement is an exceptional model for global food security. Again, it deserves acknowledgement. The seed banks are the only true sustainable solution for food security against the climate change crisis and disruption of food distribution. We invite you now to learn more about this successful program from our experienced staff, Pilar de la Torre and Christopher Robles. Thank you for your kind attention.
Buenas tardes con todos, soy Pilar de la Torre, Quichua Otavalo. A nombre de las 22 comunidades indígenas de la provincia de Imbabura, hago llegar un agradecimiento profundo a todo el equipo de la Fundación Prem Rawat por el apoyo brindado desde el inicio de la pandemia.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Pilar de la Torre, Quichua Otavalo, on behalf of the 22 indigenous communities of the province of Imbabura, Ecuador. I extend a deep appreciation to the entire team of the Prem Rawat Foundation for the wonderful support provided since the beginning of the pandemic.
Durante esta pandemia tan difícil, como madres y mujeres, sentimos una gran necesidad de buscar una alimentación más nutritiva y segura para nuestros hijos.
During this very difficult pandemic, as mothers and women, we feel a great need to find a more nutritious and safer diet for our children.
Con el programa Semillas de Esperanza, estamos creando huertas productivas, cultivadas con nuestras propias manos y llenas de biodiversidad y alta nutrición, granos, verduras, tubérculos, frutas y hasta animales menores.
With the Seeds of Hope program, we are creating productive gardens, cultivated with our own hands and filled with biodiversity and highly nutritious grains, vegetables, tubers, fruits, and raising small animals.
Todas sentimos una inmensa alegría que no tiene explicación de formarnos como guardianes de las semillas de nuestra madre tierra, de donde nace toda la vida.
We all feel an immense joy that has no explanation to form ourselves as guardians of the seeds of our Mother Earth, her jewels from which life emerges.
Este proceso me permite ir más allá, conocerme y conectarme con mis raíces, como bien dice nuestro nombre, Muyu Chacana, puente de semilla. Esta es ahora mi misión, ser el puente entre los saberes ancestrales y la nueva generación con el proyecto Guardianas de la Madre Tierra.
This process allows me to go further, to get to know myself and connect with my roots. As our name Muyu Chacana says, Bridge of Seed, this is now my mission, to be the bridge between ancestral knowledge and the new generation with the Guardianes of Mother Earth project.
Encontré varias mujeres quichuas lideresas que han vivido en resistencia más de 50 años de generación tras generación con sus saberes ancestrales.
In this arduous path, I met several leaders, Quichua women who have lived for more than 50 years, maintaining their ancestral knowledge from generation to generation.
Como Mamá Carmen Cumba, mujer medicina, que con sus plantas y ainis, como ella los llama, nace el sueño de fortalecer la salud y compartir la medicina natural como una alternativa para combatir esta pandemia.
Like Mother Carmen Cumba, a medicine woman who with her plants and arnis, as she calls them, lives the dream of strengthening common health and sharing natural medicine as an alternative to combat this pandemic.
Como Fundación Muyu Chacana, estamos ayudando a que sus saberes sean un pilar fundamental para crear centros de permacultura, ofreciendo talleres, siendo ellas las maestras que impartan sus conocimientos con los principios y éticas de la permacultura.
As the Muyu Chacana Foundation, we are helping their knowledge to be the foundation, the pillars, to create permaculture centers, where they offer workshops as the teachers who impart knowledge based on the principles and ethics of permaculture.
Me siento muy inspirada al ver que en los cursos de permacultura asisten una gran diversidad de jóvenes, como Chasqui de la comunidad de San Clemente y Melanie de la comunidad de La Bolsa.
I am very inspired to see that a great diversity of young people attend the permaculture courses, such as Chasqui from the San Clemente community and Melanie from the La Bolsa community.
evidencia real de que la educación alternativa en permacultura es la herramienta de su generación que les permitirá poder regenerar a la Pachamama y vivir armónicamente con sus descendientes.
These young people are the real evidence that alternative permaculture education is the tool of their generation that will allow them to regenerate Mother Earth and live harmoniously with their descendants.
Sus padres están muy felices y orgullosos de ver cómo se han transformado sus hijos al conectarse con toda la biodiversidad en sus comunidades.
Their parents are very happy and proud to see how their children have transformed by connecting with their plants, bees, and all of the biodiversity in their communities.
Con los graduados del curso de permacultura, estamos formando grupos de semilleristas para establecer la seguridad y soberanía alimentaria mediante la recuperación del patrimonio alimentario y la creación de bancos de semillas nativas y criollas dinámicas.
With the graduates of the permaculture course, we are forming groups of seed growers to establish food security and sovereignty through the recovery of food heritage and the creation of dynamic native and Creole seed banks.
Auspiciemos el trueque de semillas nativas y criollas, donde nace la economía alternativa entre las familias, el compartir de los conocimientos, recetas y comida ancestral, creando vidas sanas, uniendo los saberes ancestrales con la tecnología moderna.
We sponsor spaces of barter and exchange of native seeds, where an alternative economy is regenerated between families, the sharing of experiences, recipes, and ancestral food, creating healthy lives by uniting ancestral knowledge with modern technology.
Con nuestros corazones llenos de esperanza, nuevamente reitero nuestro profundo agradecimiento a nombre de las familias que somos parte de esta lucha por nuestra Pachamama, esperando así haber sembrado una semilla en cada uno de sus corazones y conciencia para seguir en este caminar lleno de vida. Muchas gracias.
With our hearts full of hope, I once again reiterate our deep gratitude on behalf of the families that are part of this initiative for Mother Earth. We hope to have sown a seed in each of your hearts to continue on this journey full of life. Thank you.
Hola, muy buenos días. Mi nombre es Christopher Robles. Soy líder nacional de los Blood en Ecuador. Hace 10 años escuchamos el mensaje de paz de Prem Rawat y soy el producto de que esas palabras me dieron claridad. Dejamos las calles y la violencia. Encontré lo que me gusta hacer, estudié agronomía y ahora manejo un proyecto que se llama Urban Peace Garden.
Hello, good morning. My name is Christopher Robles. I am a national leader of the Blood Gang in Ecuador. 10 years ago, we heard Prem Rawat's message of peace. I am the product of those words that gave me clarity. We left the streets and the violence, and I found what I like to do. I studied agronomy, and now I implement a project called Urban Peace Gardens.
Donde junto con mis compañeros, que también son Blood, realizamos 20 huertas cada 6 semanas, desde enero. Muchos de los beneficiados son Blood, personas adultas mayores y personas con recursos muy bajos.
Where together with my colleagues who are also Blood, we install now 20 gardens every 6 weeks. Many of the beneficiaries are Blood and their families, elderly people, and people with very low income.
Y he visto cómo las relaciones intrafamiliares han mejorado. Por interactuar con la huerta, las familias se están volviendo a unir, reduciendo índices de violencia y adicciones. Esto nos ha abierto los ojos a posiblemente ayudar con el mismo proyecto para centros de rehabilitación en conjunto con Palabras de Paz.
And I have seen how interfamily relationships have improved by working in the gardens. The families are sharing and uniting. By reducing rates of violence and addictions, this opened our eyes to help with the same project in regional rehabilitation centers in conjunction with the Peace Education Program.
Ahora, trabajando como técnico en la fundación, he podido incluir a mi gente dentro del sector urbano para poder certificarse en permacultura y como semilleristas, con el objetivo de formación de bancos de semillas urbanos y que puedan administrar una pilonera para producción de plántulas que donarán en su barrio.
Now, working as a technician at the foundation, I've been able to include my people from the urban sector to become certified in permaculture and as seed growers. All this towards the creation of urban seed banks and to establish an urban greenhouse for the production of seedlings to provide the local families.
También en el sector rural vamos a formar centros de semillas que son la cooperación dinámica de los bancos ya establecidos. Esto para fortalecer la biodiversidad de los bancos y la continuidad de la producción de semillas.
Also in the rural sector, we are going to form regional seed centers that are the dynamic cooperation of the already established seed banks with families. This will strengthen the biodiversity of the banks and the continuity of native seeds.
El plan estratégico es llegar a crear una universidad modular de campo en base de estos centros donde nuevos estudiantes aprenden directamente de la realidad de los semilleristas y de sus conocimientos ancestrales.
The strategic plan is to create a modular eco-university based on these centers where new students learn directly from the permaculture sites of the seed growers and from their ancestral knowledge.
Es increíble cómo la Madre Tierra nos está transformando y claro, me da mucha satisfacción el haber podido escuchar en algún momento el mensaje de Prem y haber cambiado mi vida y ahora estar ayudando a cambiar la vida de muchos más.
It's incredible how Mother Earth is transforming us. And of course, it gives me great satisfaction to have been able to listen to Prem's message, to have changed my life, and now to be helping to change the lives of many others.
Por generaciones, los que estamos ahora en el proyecto heredamos un mundo violento y gracias a todo lo que está sucediendo ahora, hemos roto esos patrones que eran normales y sé que mis hijos y los hijos de mis hijos tendrán un mejor futuro.
For generations, we inherited a violent world. But now, thanks to everything that is happening, those of us who are in the project have broken those destructive patterns. I know that my children and my children's children will have a better future.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you to the Seeds of Hope team for updating us on all the great work you're doing. If you'd like to learn more about this project and show your support for all of TPRF's humanitarian aid efforts, please visit the booth in the left-hand menu.